Hey everyone, welcome to another video. This one is all about overcoming that disappointment that we face as landscape photographers when we have an awesome time out in nature and then we get home, we pull up the raw files and it's like, man, what happened? Where'd the color go? The light looks different. So in this video, we're gonna go chase a rainbow. I'll show you how to forecast for rainbows and we're gonna try and line a rainbow up over a lone tree. And then stay tuned because we'll pull up the processing and I'll just show you how to bring out the best of what you captured and work with the colors. This isn't about fabricating things that weren't there. It's just about bringing out those details and getting that color back so your image reflects a little closer to your experience out in nature. And I apologize in advance. It was pretty windy out there, so I've tried to minimize the noise and the wind. I've cut short the time in the field, and then we're going to concentrate more on the processing at the end. Okay. Let's do it. Morning guys, it's going to be hard to hear me because of this wind, but come out this morning in hopes of capturing a rainbow. We've got all of this weather system coming in from the west, and then behind me there's a few gaps out there. We're just hoping the sun will break through even just for a moment. And what I want to do is line the rainbow up over our tree right here, this lone tree. Hopefully we can pull this off. It's going to be brief, but if we get that light blast in, we should be getting some magic light and the bow. Just sitting down, trying to get out of the wind. We're just getting a faint part of the bow forming either side. Now that the sun is finally breaking through the cloud behind us, I just don't know if there's enough moisture back there to really get much color in the rainbow, but we'll find out. I'm shooting with the 10mm lens. This is allowing me to fit in the entire rainbow. And now getting low just to get some more depth in our foreground with this grass. I need a fast shutter speed because of the wind. So I'm shooting at 160 and 200th of a second. Woo! How cool. Making sure the rainbow's not clipping the top of the tree here. Soon there's going to be too much light on the foreground, so we're about to lose the magic. Well, there's not much that rivals that, and that's probably my favorite part of photography, is just being out there and experiencing the moment. Whether it was something that you maybe forecasted and pre-visualized or something completely spontaneous that caught you off guard, the element of surprise, all of that stuff together, it's about the experience, and that's something that AI can never replace or replicate. Just being able to enjoy such moments out in nature. That's what it's all about. Then every now and then you might have a photograph which is your interpretation or your expression of such experiences, all about the pursuit of the moment. Anyway, one thing that can happen though, you have a great time out there, you get home and you're buzzing, and then you pull up those raw files and man, what happened? It just doesn't represent what you remember and what you experienced. And that's the nature of raw files, and some light and some colors are definitely not going to translate through the camera as well as others. So I've pulled up one of the exposures here and I've cropped this as a 16:9, and I've done a very brief amount of processing. However, even though brief, if you have a look, reset, boom, that's what the raw looked like. And I'm telling you, it looked a lot better in person, and even the phone video definitely showcased a lot more than what we're getting here. This is very common in landscape photography. I'm sure you guys have experienced it, but you can get discouraged when you get home and it's just so flat, and that discouragement can lead you to thinking that you don't have anything worth keeping. So I'm just going to reapply what I've done. One of the main things when it comes to color, which is what I want to talk about in this particular lesson, the color grading, but let's just we'll deconstruct slightly. So I've applied some color grading, which I'm going to reset, and then I'll go into the color tab and reset the vibrance, reset the saturation, and now I'm going to turn off the landscape profile. And now look at that, we're back to being pretty flat again. So to start to get that color back or reveal what you've captured, and that's the whole goal for me, is not really adding anything that wasn't there, it's just pulling out the best of what we captured and revealing what is in the data. Landscape profile definitely helps. So if you just throw that on, you'll find a lot of the time it does a good job. Sometimes it'll go overboard, just turn it off then. But it's a good starting point. Landscape profile, then jump into the color tab. And certainly I increase the vibrance on most images. The vibrance is more working on your midtones. You can see that's working wonders up in our sky, for example, and the grass. I'll go anywhere from 5 to 30. In this case, we'll do about 25. Saturation, go easy. That's going to be your darks and your lights, shadows and highlights. Typically in a sunrise or sunset, these are quite rich and saturated anyway. So if you start to go overboard on your saturation slider, you'll see that you start to lose data in those tones. There's just too much already there. In this case, we'll go about 15. You don't want an image that people look at and straight away think it's been manipulated, obviously. So just go easy on the saturation. Less is more, and that's why we let these edits marinate and come back with those fresh eyes. Now, the last part I want to talk about is the color grading and particularly color contrast. This is what's so nice about this particular scene, the cool and warm contrast. Look up in the sky, we've got the blues and then the golden hues. So we have cooler midtones, warmer highlights. We're seeing that all the way through. That's a very pleasing contrast that we get in nature in the golden hours. In order to really boost that further, one thing I'll do is go into the grading, and this is where we can select our tones, shadows, midtones, highlights. And in our case, the highlights have a very warm hue in them. I just want to amplify that further. And to do that, I can simply go to the highlight wheel, pick the hue that I want. In this case, it's not right on sunrise now, it's 10 minutes after or 15 minutes after. So the hues are gonna be more of a yellowy orange instead of red. So we're going to go into the yellow, and now to actually add that saturation to the highlights, we move this inside circle outwards, and that just ramps up the saturation. So we're going to saturate those highlights. I'm going to hold shift so I stay fixed on that hue, the color I want. And now as I drag out, see all the highlights in the image getting warmer, 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 warmer. The beautiful thing here is it's global. So if you have highlights scattering in your midground and foreground, it will do the same to them. And that's good because you're getting continuity then through the image. It looks more realistic. So we'll just ramp that up slightly. We could probably pull it down a little, have it play there. And then to really lean into that color contrast side that I mentioned, we could look at cooling the midtones down. So I run that around this side, hold shift, and now I click and drag. So I'll go overboard so you can see what's going on, but see how we can cool those down as well. I just want to do a small amount, something like that. And I'm just having a run around the different hues. Now, sometimes I will cool the shadows, generally more than the actual midtones, but in this case, I don't know if I want the grass much cooler because it's really going to hit the grass quite a lot. Maybe something like that. And then one of the last things you can do, which it looks like I've done that anyway, turn that one on off. See that mask that I've applied there with the brush? So I manually now do a bit of grading, but locally by using the adjustment brush. And if you've seen me process, you know this is the tool for me, the brush. This is all I really use. What I would simply do is just pull up the temperature on this brush and some magenta, and then just start to locally hit some areas where, again, it's already there. I'm just going over it a bit further to bring it out, just like that. It's going overboard slightly just for the sake of the lesson. I'll dial it back a touch. The other thing I'd probably do, and I've probably done it already, but I think I'll do a touch more, just introduce a bit more light. So with this exposure now, just a little brighter coming in from that right-hand side, centralized area all through here, just all in that background. I'm just bringing up the exposure, and that's just going to help. See that? Just lead the eye to that area. Another one that I did was up here in the sky. Was it that one? Yes, here. So I've darkened the top part of the sky, and typically for the edges, I'll increase contrast, or in this case, I'll increase the dehaze slider, which is more like a mid-tone contrast. That's going to drop the dark tones darker, but it will leave the brighter tones. And that's good. So that way we're not getting all darkness up there. It'll look unnatural. It's just darkening down some of the darker tones already. Lucky last, so the grass isn't so flat. Let's just raise the highlights and whites. And we're just running that through the grass area. And that's gonna get some tonal separation. We've got the grass as a mid-tone. There's highlights there, I can see it. And by running this brush over, we just lift it off. And now we're getting more depth in the grass. So we slowly build it out, and that way we're going from that to that. Is it finished? No, it's pretty close. What I need to do is just save this as a draft. I'll just save it as a PSD file, Smart Object, so when I open the PSD, I'll double click, it'll take me straight back here to Camera Raw. All my adjustments will be remembered, and the marination process just lets me come back with fresh eyes later on, and I'm gonna see things that I didn't pick up the first time. Maybe it's too dark, too bright, too much color, not enough color, etc. So no rush with your processing, take your time. No one's waiting for these photos, they can wait, you'll get a better result if you just let them marinate for a little bit. But that's a bit of an approach anyway to bringing out the colors that were there. Like I said, don't be discouraged when you get home and the memory and the experience and you're buzzing, and then you look at the raws and it's like, oh no, it's in there. It's just bringing it out, bringing out the best of what's there. Don't go overboard with the processing and doing 50 different things. What have I done? I've just touched the sliders and used the adjustment brush, and that's all. So it's brightening and darkening, colors, color contrast, tonal contrast. All right, thank you for watching the video. Hope you can get out and maybe capture a rainbow sometime soon, and think about where would be a good spot to do that. So this tree, when I found this tree, I knew, hey, this would be awesome to get a rainbow over. And I've actually done this in the past. There is an older video where I process a rainbow over it. It's a different time of year, so the rainbow lined up differently. But I'm always just thinking about spots to capture certain things. And the best thing you can do as a landscape photographer is just watch the sky. We don't want clear days unless you're shooting astro, but generally the best conditions are when these fronts are arriving or departing. So if you ever see rain coming up in the forecast, you want to be ahead of that, or get out and have a look, keep an eye on the sky, and good things will happen. Light is so important. That's what photography is all about. So good quality light in conjunction with a nice location and a nice composition, you're on track to make a beautiful photograph. And the last part, the post-processing, just bringing out what you've captured. Thanks as always, guys. Questions or comments, always appreciated. Leave them below. Thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I look forward to bringing you another video next week. Otherwise, check out the rest of the back catalogue. There's a lot there. Thank you so much. Cheers.